12年の時を経て、あの秘密基地が帰ってくる。
Between 1830 and 1870, nearly 500,000 Americans migrated west over wagon trails. This is the story of one party of three and their adventure.
Explosions! Whoa! So yeah, Super Amazing Wagon Adventure is pretty darn radical. For those of you who don't know, this game is essentially what would happen if you took the Oregon Trail, removed any ties to education, injected it with LCD, and turned it into a shmup. Now, as an American, this time period means a lot to me. While the other countries were drinking tea and eating koala soup, we traveled the 7 seas in search of the West. A place that held the legendary cowboy. I remember those days. It nearly brings a tear to my face. And because of that, at first I didn't think I'd like Wagon Adventure. I saw the retro graphics and the Oregon Trail influences and assumed it would either be a cheap knockoff or a nostalgia-induced circle jerk. But luckily, this game turned out to be neither of those things, and instead a faithful adaptation of my favorite time period. As you can see from the gameplay, this is a shoot-the-guys type of video adventure, which is all fine and space dandy, but what really won me over was the humor. Now when I say humor, I'm not talking about zany, wacky, jokey jokes. I mean the kind of dark humor that torments the human mind and relishes in the tears of defeat. Pretty much, the humor stems from both the ridiculous scenarios it puts you through and the ways in which it will dick you over. As a preemptive warning, let it be clear that no matter how good you are at this game, you will always be at its mercy. Super Amazing Wagon Adventure holds no shame in disrupting your perfect playthrough with a virus that drains all of your character's health right before hitting you with a stupid mean hailstorm. But of course, I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I could start my very own magical journey, I needed to put together a dream team to forge the harsh American West. So naturally, I chose Hitler, Danny Phantom, and Dawn from Pokemon. Oh, what's that? Jason thinks he's being funny because he gave his characters comedic names? Wowzers, what a funny genius. Well, you know what? Fuck you. I know what I'm doing, guys. Why did I pick Danny Phantom? Oh, you know, in case I run into any ghosts. And Hitler? Well, who would you choose to wipe out a race of Israeli cows? Danny DeVito, the guy who played the Bitey Penguin in Batman? Or the summer camp specialist himself, Adolf the Red-Nosed Nazi? Plus there's Dawn, and believe it or not, back in the Old West, traveling with the 10-year-old blue-haired girl was perfectly acceptable. Don't believe me? Well, you'll find out soon enough, Buster Black. Alright, I think it's about time I talked about the gunplay. The game in a shell of a nut is a roguelike, with none of your progress saving over between deaths, with the exception of the game's unlockable wagons. And much like every other roguelike, the game uses an element of randomness to make each playthrough feel distinct enough to give it another go. In technical terms, I'd say that this is where the comedy really helps out the game's content, because the different scenarios you encounter are generated by misleading expectations. For example, oh, I need to jump over the river because I can't swim, I'm gonna get Dawn's dress wet and then she'll be able to be seen through her clothes. Man, I'm gonna jump. And, oh, what happens when I jump? Well, I could land on the other side, I could undershoot and fall in the rapids, I could launch myself into space, I could awaken a swarm of bees, and the list of dank stink just keeps going and going and going and going. On one playthrough, instead of fighting the family of bears, I discovered a rainbow. And it wasn't just a normal rainbow, it was a half rainbow, maybe even a third of a rainbow. Which was an indication of good things to come. And immediately afterwards, we ran into a unicorn. Now, I ain't no brony, I think ponies are stupid, but unicorns? I played Awesome Unicorn by Adult Swim, the video game, and I thought it was pretty fun. So, when it told me we were going to go on an enchanted journey through an enchanted forest meadow, I was pretty excited because I do think that game really has a lot of potential to make this one even better. So we took off, and we were in the enchanted forest, and we were shown a wonderful world of amazing things. Like I said before, the game has different wagons that can be unlocked by surviving different scenarios. The wagons all have either small or drastic changes from one another, which at first just seems like a stupid distraction to distract me from the fact that the wagons are all the same, but after playing through several rounds with each of the wagons, I came to a conclusion that certain scenarios are better suited for different wagons. Sometimes you want to be fast or small to avoid projectiles, and other times you want a stronger weapon to keep the enemies at Guantanamo Bay. The game understands that roguelikes need to be random in order to keep the game interessante, and it even manages to make all the wagons feel just as useful as the others. Except for the sword. That can go kill itself. Oh, you wanna know why the sword is super stupid? Alrighty then, well, the range of the blade is like 2 pixels, the damage it gives doesn't even do a thing, and whenever you try to cut someone, you end up losing health in the process because it has a short blade, and it doesn't even work right because you're supposed to be able to. I hate the sword so much that when Danny picked it up, despite my many warnings, that stupid ghost hunting son of a bitch, I had to cut all ties and let him go. If you were to return to my wagon carrying that shit sword, it would have replaced my awesome Captain Falcon, and my entire group would have been boned. So, as much as it pains my inner soul, I let the ninjas pierce all of his key organs and do nothing as they slowly bled over the course of 17 fortnights. But in the ashes of this tragic loss, blossomed a romance between my other travelers. Yep, that's right, I wasn't joking about Dawn. My fanfiction managed to come true, and Dawn and Hitler became lovers, and took the West on as a couple. And then they both brutally died and my dreams were broken beyond repair, god damn it. Funny enough, I actually made my furthest journey while recording footage for this review, only to be backhanded by a bunch of shark fins and taken out within seconds, and it wasn't even sharks, it was just the fins. For all I know, I could have been killed by the kid from the old Shark Attack commercial. See him? I mean, look at those abs. They're not even abs, they're just nothings. I got killed by nothings. What the heck? Jeez, game designers, you sure don't know what you're doing. There's also a survival mode in the game, but I never really got into it. I once died about 8 seconds in, only to be congratulated for getting the high score. And like other people, once I'm awarded something, that's it. I don't need to go above and beyond. 8 seconds with a high score, good enough for me, I'm outie. And as much as I went on earlier about how much I love the West, I think my favorite events are the ones that stray away from the Western aesthetics and go completely nutso, you know? Now, Wagon the Video Machine ain't perfect. I'm not gonna lie, success in this game is usually determined by luck. Sure, you can perfectly mow down every obstacle, but sooner or later, something will cripple your wagon, making you fall prey to some giant ant monsters that are impossible to beat because I can't even aim well, and I always found it weird that the game never explains that when you're on foot, shooting is controlled with the right analog stick. I mean, it works fine as a control scheme, but there were many turds online who just couldn't figure it out. New Game Plus, as much as I hate to say it, some of the scenarios became less charming over time. If I could make any other changes to the game, I'd probably add a few more wagons. I think I'd make the Wallet-mobile, Attack on Titan Chibi mode, a ball pit, Johnny on Bosch's left eyebrow, 1010 from Pokemon, and maybe the Oompa Loompas from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you know? Just gonna add some more awesome content. Overall, I'd say that this game was quite the good time. Like most retro games, I really enjoyed the quick pick up and play nature of it all, and as for the visuals, I usually don't like it when a game decides to throw away decades of technical prowess out the window, but this one had a reason behind it. The single developer made this all on his own, so he made something that would be simple enough to incorporate a variety of content at a reasonable work rate. The graphics weren't retro because retro is the best ever. It was retro because if it was more complicated, then it would take longer to create the different scenarios, and then parts of the game would either have to be scraped or cut altogether. And that's one of the many things that I find charming about the game. Just like with actual old games, he was working within very strict limitations. So should you buy Super Amazing Wagon Adventure Turbo Edition? I don't know. Probably. I mean, I got it for less than $1. That's iPhone game pricing. And we all know how those games compare. So, do whatever you want. I'm gonna go finish my Hitler x Dawn fanfiction. See you all next time for my next video review on, I don't know, Watch Dogs. It's, you know, whatever. Super Amazing Wagon Adventure Spooky Popular.